Today's special guest is Marilee Daugherity. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And the name of the company she works for is Clarity Insurance and Financial Services, and I know that because she takes care of all of my home and auto insurance needs. Thank you very much,
You're
Marilee.
welcome. Thank you.
And but before I talk to Marilee, I've got a beef. I'm a little peeved today, so I don't usually do this, but hey guys, critical illness insurance is not long-term care insurance. Did you know that, Marilee?
Yes, I did know that.
And I had a client, and it seems like every week I have another story and I get upset, and I've got to say that most of the people I know are really good, honest people, and they want to help you. But not everybody is like that. Some people want to make that commission check. And if you sell some of these policies, the commission checks could be pretty good. I'm getting a little static. But, so anyway, this elderly woman, and I hope if she's listening, she's not upset because I said she was elderly, but I think she'll agree, had an insurance company come over to her house and sell her a critical illness policy, which is fine and great if she thinks she needs it and it's good. And I got involved as her financial advisor because she asked me, she said, John, I got this notice from my long-term care insurance that says if I don't make a payment in the next 30 days, they're going to cancel my policy. And I've looked at her long-term care insurance and I said, well, write them a check. And she says, well, I met with this guy back in April that sold me another policy that was cheaper, and he said I shouldn't pay my long-term care policy. And I said, ma'am, you have to get into my office, please, as soon as possible. Let's talk about this. And sure enough, I called up the company that sold her the new policy, and I asked the sales desk. I said, does this policy replace her long-term care policy? And they said, absolutely not. It's a completely different kind of insurance. But the way it was sold to her was, we can save you a couple $100 a month if you cancel that old 20-something-year-old long-term care policy that you bought, when you were young, and replace it with this brand new policy that'll save you a couple $100 a month. And it's. Can I use the word despicable here?
Absolutely.
It was despicable. Anyway, we're definitely going to file a complaint with the state Missouri Insurance Commissioner or department there. And but that's what this show is about, and it's helping educate the listeners how to make more money, save more money, and have more money for all of your retirement goals. And that a lot of what we do has to do with saving money, and well, in two ways, because one, she probably shouldn't have bought the new policy. We'll have to look at it. I don't tell people to cancel policies on face value. And I told her to look at it with her insurance person, who's long-term care. Maybe Marilee can help me with that, but I definitely want to get people, when I'm not an insurance person, so I want to get this person in touch with somebody who is an insurance expert. And so what we're doing on the show is introducing you to insurance experts, to all the different experts that I've interviewed in the past, so that you don't make these common mistakes. And it's a very, very common mistake. This is something that happens all the time.
It's very easy to do, especially when you have a new person that comes into your household, sits across from you. They're trying to explain a new policy. It sounds really good. You're saving a couple $100, but a lot of the times those decisions can be drastic, and a lot of the times you can't go back and change them. So it's really, really important that you sit down with an expert.
And what's the motivation, Marilee, for people making people do bad decisions like that? You don't know.
They want to save money.
No, the salesperson.
Oh, the salesperson. Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It can be commission driven. Most of the time, and that's why you always want to make sure you're with an agent or an agency that always puts the customer's needs and best interest at heart first.
Yeah, so I recommend Marilee and Clarity Insurance and Financial Services if you have any insurance questions, because like I said, I'm not an insurance expert, but I will take the time to sit down with my financial clients and assess every aspect of their financial lives. Any questions they have. I don't have all the answers, but I have friends, right, Marilee?
Absolutely.
And those friends can help you as well. And I'll introduce you to the right people in your life. So whether it's financial advice that you're looking for, or if you're looking for rolling over your 401k or 403b, or if you're not satisfied with your current financial advisor and you want to look for somebody that'll put your needs first, give me a call. Give me a call here on the radio, ask me questions, or contact me. And
What's that number again so they can call in?
the radio show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 862-9977. That's if you're in the 417 area, or 1-800-375-0056. So that was my rant, and
Okay.
and here's my I had some I didn't think of this, but I had some recommendations, and I'll just go over one of them because I already used up a lot of time with my rant. But apps.
Mhm.
If you're a younger person
Okay.
and you have this real fancy phone, there's an app you need to download, and it's called Credit Karma. Credit Karma. If you haven't heard about it, it'll help you improve your credit score. And they're not a sponsor. I'm just giving you good advice because I care about my listener audience. And what they'll do, that's Credit Karma with it's CK, Credit, and Karma with a K.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll help you know what your credit score is, and it's not going to be exact, but they do their own calculations, and they'll give you tips about credit cards you might be qualified for, but they'll tell you what's going on in your credit score. If it goes up or down, they'll explain why, and they'll help you build your credit. Now, credit score is important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's extremely important, especially when shopping for insurance. We do run what's called a insurance score, and that is partially includes your credit history as well.
Right, and it affects a lot of other areas of your life, even getting a job. I mean, you could say, well, I don't want to use credit cards, I don't need to borrow money. Well, if you buy a house, you might need to borrow money for that. If you buy a car, you might need to borrow money, and I don't have a problem with that type of debt. I don't like credit card debt, but I use my credit card and I pay it off every month, and that's what you should do. And you should never charge more than you can pay off that month, because you shouldn't be paying those 20+ odd percentage rate loans, which is what the credit card company does for you. They want you to pay your minimum payment. Anyway, Credit Karma, it'll help you with a lot of aspects of your life by improving your credit score. And again, that was just free. I don't make any money from Credit Karma. I don't know why I give them so much time, but
Well, because it helps people.
it helps people.
It helps people.
And I'm just a nice guy, so.
Yeah.
Let's talk to our guest, Marilee. And Marilee, tell us about you, and what got you started in the insurance business.
Well, I've been a licensed insurance agent for 17 years, and I'm independent agent, which means I represent several different carriers. I don't work for one company with one set of products. So we represent many companies with a whole slew of products, anywhere from auto, home, life, disability, long-term care, renter's insurance, pretty much everything out there. I'm in the business, and I do have a personal story. In 2000, I was in a car accident. I was hit by an uninsured driver, and incidentally, it happened right in front of my insurance agent's office. So they came running out, and they were very supportive and whatnot at the time. And anyways, at the end of the day, I was really fortunate that I had a great agent that really looked out for me and made sure that I had proper limits in place to cover my damages. And I just kind of took it really to heart that people really needed to know what their limits were and what they were paying for, because it can really change your life. It can impact your entire family.
Well, right, and like any other kind of insurance, there's people out there that might want to sell you too much to make a bigger commission. But I've got a personal story, and Marilee called me, sometime about 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and And she already was doing my car insurance, and she called me up and said, John, how'd you like to save money on your car insurance? And usually when you hear those words, it's somebody trying to get you to switch companies. And well, did you leave your insurance company? You want to switch me over? What'd you tell me? How did I save money?
No, I wasn't leaving. That's what we do for our customers at Clarity, you know, and we realize that some insurance companies will take a rate and sometimes we feel like we can get you a better deal, and that's what I did. A lot of the times in the mornings when we come in, we review our policies and our reports and kind of get a handle on what's going on for our clients. A lot of the times before they even know what's going on. We're doing all this before they even get anything in the mail. We're reviewing the policies to see what we can do to save them money, help offset any increases that might be coming down the pipeline, and then also make sure that we're not missing any discounts, or maybe they qualify for a new discount that we need to get added to their policy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what we do.
And you really take the time with existing customers to help them continue to save money. And I was with, I could say I was with Allstate before I went over to you, and you saved me about 20-25% right there just by switching coverage.
Right.
And then a couple of years, 3 years later after that, because I've been with you for about 5 years now, you called me up and saved me another 20%.
Yeah.
And I really recommend everybody. And really, if you haven't had your insurance policy looked at, just when you get your bill, or if you have last year's bill, send it to Marilee. And how would they send it? Do you have like a fax number?
They can send it right over to my email at marilee@goclarity.com, and that's MARILEE@goclarity.com, and that's GOCLARITY.com.
And they could reach you. You're on Facebook?
I am. I'm Marilee at Marilee with Clarity Insurance on Facebook, yes.
Okay, so they can look you up on Facebook. Do you have a company website?
Yes, it is www.goclarity.com.
Do you have a phone number?
417-887-6261, extension 12.
Okay, and if you can all just hit rewind on your radios and replay that
Right.
whenever you need it. Or just call the show whenever I'm on the air, 862-9977 in the 417 area code, or 1-800-375-0056. And I'll give you her information, or just listen to the show. I mention her name and her phone number a couple times every week because she's a valued sponsor. And it's not because she's helping me. I mean, of course, all my sponsors help me pay to be on the air, but every one of them, I either had a relationship like Marilee, and when I was doing the radio show, didn't I call you, Marilee, and I said, Marilee, you got to do the show with me.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't want to just find somebody to help me pay for the show. I was wanting to find somebody that I could feel really good about referring to people who are listening and to my own clients as the need arises. But have your insurance policies looked at, because you can save hundreds of dollars a year, and hundreds of dollars a year is real money.
Absolutely. Another good point to remember to review those policies is the fact that when your renewal comes out, sometimes there might be some added changes in there that you may not be aware of.
Yeah. And we're going to take a quick break. And before I go on a break, I wanted to thank all of my sponsors, Dr. Michael Miller with Family Back and Neck Care, and, well, Marilee, I already thanked you.
Thank you.
Gary Bingaman with A&D Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Diana Haston with Secure Insurance Group, and she sells life insurance, and Gayla Scribner from Scribner Solutions. And you don't know Gayla, do you?
Yes, I do. I know her. Yeah,
Okay,
I do.
great.
I was
Well-
just with her a few hours ago.
Well, we're going to take a break, and maybe we'll talk more about Gayla when we get back.
She'll be surprised.
So before the break, this is It's Your Money Radio with your host, John Dittrich, and today's guest, Marilee Daugherity. I'm going to have to say that right. That's hard. That's not hard to say. Daugherity.
No, it's not.
Okay.
They're just showing different ways to spell it, so.
Yeah, okay.
I have the I in there, though.
But we were talking about one of our newer sponsors, Gayla Scribner, at Scribner Solutions. And they're actually helping, if you want to look at my Facebook page, They were helping with the layout of the Facebook and giving me advice, doing all the reminders. If you're on Facebook, you're getting reminders. Remember to watch the show, who our next guest is going to be, and all that sort of thing. That's all handled by Gayla and her team, and because I don't have the time to do it.
Right, she's really good at that.
She is really good at that, and she does a lot of other things. She has teams that can help you with bookkeeping, payroll, paying your bills, social media marketing. So if you're a small business owner or just a real busy person, they are your virtual personal assistant. And the things that maybe you have time, maybe you don't want to do them. Maybe you just want to focus on other things. Call Gayla and her team, and they will take care of you. Very trustworthy, very reliable, and very reasonable in pricing. So they're helping me with the digital marketing. But virtual assistance is very, very cost effective. It's an alternative to actually hiring, because you get very high quality people, and you can't, if you're looking for high quality people, it's really hard to get somebody that's going to work for you a few hours a week or a few hours a month.
Right.
Because they can get real jobs, right? But this is her job, and her team. And so if you've never heard about virtual assistants and wonder how it works, you can go to her website at scrivenersolutions.com and download her little book on 5 things you need to know before hiring a virtual assistant. So that's Gayla at Scrivener Solutions. Thanks, Gayla. Look her up online, scrivenersolutions.com. Where were we? We talked about you.
Yes.
And how you got insurance, started in insurance. And I wanted to just say my uninsured motorists are all over. It's just,
yeah, they are.
all you got to do is buy a car. And,
Yeah.
you go on Craigslist, you buy a car. And I urge you, if you're selling a car, what you should do to protect yourself and protect the citizens of your community is do a bill of sale and get a copy of their driver's license and their insurance card before you sell them a car. And that'll help that problem a lot. And that's what I did last time I sold the car. And also, what happens if that person doesn't turn around and register your vehicle and they get in a car accident and flee the scene, guess who the police are going to call?
Right, yeah, it's really important to make sure that you do get that paperwork filed properly, especially on your end. If you're selling a vehicle, you want to make sure, because if there is an accident, a lot of the times they will go after the named, the registered owner of the vehicle. So you want to make sure that you get that paperwork properly filed.
So if they don't properly file it, and it's not up to the seller to file it, it's up to the buyer, but at least as the seller, you've got all of the information, all the signed documents that say you sold the car and who you sold it to, so they know where to go next.
Right.
And just protect yourself and everybody else. My daughter, and it's kind of a funny story if you don't mind me sharing, but
Oh no.
my daughter got hit in a parking lot by a lady who was in the newspaper for stabbing a guy with an ice pick.
Oh my gosh.
So she didn't want to hassle this. It's a true story. She got out of jail and hit my daughter in a parking lot, and she's trying to collect. It wasn't a big deal. It was like $500 or something, and so that was like 5 years ago, and my daughter got married a couple weekends ago. She got a check from that lady's attorney because she still owes the money. I mean, we can't make her pay, but every couple of years she gets a check for $50. And so it's a problem. It's a problem we should all be aware of and take care of it. And so because of it, also Missouri State, the state of Missouri wants to protect you and wants you to have proper insurance coverage in case that happens to you so you can get your car fixed. What are the minimum state requirements?
Minimum state requirements for liability in the state of Missouri is 25, 50, 10. And that is $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident, and $10,000 property damage. And what I can say based on my experiences, I just don't think that's adequate for really anybody. And most of our clients in our office, a very, very high percentage of them do not have those limits. Just because we know that they're not appropriate. I mean, if one of our clients gets into an accident, we want to make sure they're fully covered the best way that we possibly can.
Right, and the amount of coverage you need personally will vary, and you need to talk to an insurance expert to find out what you need for coverage. Absolutely, the minimum is the minimum. It's not what anybody should be recommended to have.
Right, exactly. And especially when you're shopping for insurance, if you're looking at saving money, you really need to make sure that when you're shopping for insurance that they're not cutting the coverages in order to save you a couple dollars, because a lot of the times it's not worth it to save a couple dollars and then end up, with a huge loss in the long run. So you just need to know what your options are and make sure you're sitting down with an expert.
Yeah, another tip I have is the last time I went to buy a car, I called Marilee. And I said, Marilee, I'm looking at 2 cars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to buy this car or this car. And she says, well, if you buy this car, your insurance will cost you $350 a month. And I'm making these numbers up. I don't even pay that much. But, but the point was, the other car cost about $200 a month more on insurance.
Right.
So you can't just look at how much a vehicle costs, but find out before you buy it how much your insurance is going to cost. So you need an expert like Marilee that's just 24/7, ready for you to call her, wake her up in the middle of the night, say, I dreamt about buying a new car.
So.
No? What are your office hours?
Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5, and I do give out my cell phone number. And as I tell people, my clients know that if you have an emergency or if you have an accident, if a tree falls on your house or, those types of situations, if there is an emergency, then you can always call me on my cell phone. So.
And she does answer, because I have called her outside of business hours and gotten her right away. And you're getting busier, though, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you're pretty busy, but always has time for her clients. Puts her clients, the ones she has, above getting new clients. And that's why I said, come on the radio, let's get you some more clients, because this is the person right here that you need to call if you need auto or home. Any other type of insurance that you...
Yeah, pretty much everything. We do auto, home, life, disability, some long-term care, renters, commercial policies if you have a business. A lot of people don't realize, they have insurance with one company and then another company and then maybe they got another policy over here. You can maximize your discounts. You really want to take advantage of that to really save yourself some money. So you really should try and put all of your policies with one company to maximize your discounts.
Well, I have a lot more questions to you, but we have to go on a little break. And I'd like to thank Gary Bingaman from A&D Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. They do offer 24-hour emergency service, and they're fully licensed and fully insured. If you listened, he was on the show last week, and his number is 417-866-8257. And Dr. Michael Miller at Family Back and Neck Care, 1440 West Republic Road, Suite 112. Ask for Dr. Miller at 417-889-2225. Hi, this is John Dittrich with It's Your Money Radio. My guest this week is Marilee Daugherity from Clarity Insurance and Financial Services. And thanks for being my guest. And also thank you to Gayla Scrivener at Scrivener Solutions, your virtual assistants at www.scrivenersolutions.com. Don't forget to download your free book, 5 Things You Need to Know Before Hiring a Virtual Assistant. And if you need life insurance, well, you can contact Diana Haston at Secure Life Insurance at 417-986-4529. And back to Marilee. Hey, Marilee.
Hey.
One thing I wanted you to clear up is a lot of times we get to talking to people, and we're using terminology, and it's industry terminology. So of course, if you're been in the industry for as long as you have, you know the terminology really well. And I think that was that's a point of confusion, because you get fooled because you don't know the terminology and you don't know what you're getting. So could you explain some of the terminology in the insurance industry when it comes to types of coverage?
Absolutely. A lot of people, I'll get calls for quotes, and I might, go over what they currently have, ask them some brief questions, and I'll ask them whether they have full coverage or liability. A lot of people can answer full coverage or liability, but, when it goes into full coverage, they don't know anything about their limits. So full coverage can consist of lots of different limits within that full coverage. A lot of people think that, man, I've been in an accident and I got full coverage, so everything's going to be paid for, and that is not necessarily the case. So again, going back to the limits that we talked about earlier, 25, 50, 10, for the liability limits. Basically what that means is if a person is in an accident and they have those particular limits and they are in an accident and they hit somebody, then if there is one person in that vehicle that they hit, that one person can receive up to $25,000 worth of bodily injury damages. Now, if you hit someone that has multiple passengers, not one person can exceed $25,000 and the entire accident cannot exceed $50,000. So if somebody is hurt, disabled, or they've lost a limb or whatever the situation might be, they cannot receive more than $25,000 if they have those limits. Again, the $10,000 liability property damage, same thing. So if you're in a multi-vehicle accident that you're at fault for, and if there's 2 or 3 cars, then all you have with the state minimum limits is $10,000 worth of property damage. So you have $10,000 to fix all those cars. Or if you hit a higher end BMW, a Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, all you have again is just $10,000 to fix that vehicle. So those coverages, aren't necessarily, it is considered full coverage to have those with the comp and the collision, the uninsured motorist and the underinsured motorist, but the limits you can increase. So typically they'll go 25, 50 for the bodily injury liability, and then it bumps up to 50, 100, 100, 300, and then 250, 500 for split limit options. So typically when we have someone that comes in for a quote, we try and start them out off at usually at 100, 300, and that's a case-by-case basis because everyone's different. A lot of the times we're looking at how much do you have to lose, because again, going back to the state minimum, the 25, 50, 10, if you're in an accident and you hit someone and you total out a brand new Mercedes-Benz and you only have $10,000 worth of coverage, then that's when you can be held liable for the difference. So they can come after you, they can lien your assets, they can garnish your wages, they can do a lot of things to you. So it's about basically what do you have to lose that we're protecting.
Well, and $25,000 is nothing if you're talking about medical coverage. Now, you're covered yourself for medical if you're injured in auto insurance too, auto accident, aren't you?
What are you talking about? The insurance coverage, the medical portion, or you talk on the policy? Yes, and that's an additional coverage. So
okay, that's additional.
Additional coverage as well. So medical is also additional, and then you also have the underinsured and uninsured motorists. So if you're hit by somebody that doesn't have enough insurance, so again, going back to the state minimum 25, 50, 10, if somebody hits you and they don't have enough insurance, let's say they have the minimum and you have $100,000 worth of damages, that's when your policy can kick in.
Okay, so
and help with those damages.
What does it mean? Because I'm trying to clear something up here. What does it mean to be a no-fault state? Are we a no-fault state? Do you know what I'm talking about? No. Okay. Because somebody was telling me about if you're in an accident, that we each go to our own insurance company. Oh yeah.
I'm not particularly sure about the no fault. I mean, and you each go to your own insurance policy. I would never recommend that.
Okay, so if I'm in an accident with somebody and it's their fault, I should go to their insurance company?
Absolutely. You should go to their insurance company. Lots of things happen when you're in an accident. First of all, it's sudden. A lot of the times, you weren't expecting it to get into an accident. So, you really need to make sure the police are called and get proper documentation. If there are any witnesses, get the witness information. Of course, make sure you're okay or any passengers are okay. But, you want to be able to work with that other insurance company. Now, if for some reason that other insurance company is not cooperating with you, then you can turn to your own agent to have them help you, assist you with the claim.
Okay, so if I got in an accident, I should try and cooperate. Of course, you get the driver's license and insurance card from the other driver if they're insured, right?
Yes.
And then I would contact the insurance company. Would that be the thing?
Yes, you could call the other insurance company.
Okay.
A lot of people think that they can get it off the police report, the other person's driver's license and insurance information, but some police reports can take several days to obtain, and so that can leave you in a really bad situation, especially if you don't have car rental on your current policy, or you only have one vehicle to get back and forth to work or, run your family around. So you really want to make sure that you can try and get that information just as soon as you possibly can.
Well, and sometimes the police don't find fault. They can't determine or don't want to determine whose fault it is.
That is correct.
They just do a report. They don't write any tickets all the time. They weren't there to witness.
Exactly, and that's why getting witnesses, taking pictures, that sort of thing is key.
In that case, do they call their insurance agent first and explain what happened, or should they call somebody else?
Well, I know I asked my insurance to call me. I'm not exactly sure how other insurance companies or agents handle those types of situations, but I always recommend my clients, if there's not an emergency and they don't need to call 911, then I recommend that my clients call my office.
Okay. Speaking of tickets, okay, that's something that's going to impact the cost of insurance, right?
Absolutely, yes. A lot of people think that when they have a ticket, they can just pay it. And that's not necessarily the case. You want to make sure you do everything you can possible to keep that ticket off of your record. And if that means hiring an attorney, whatever it is that you need to do to keep that ticket off of your driving record. On average, especially when you have a youthful driver in the household, and in this also a situation, not just youthful drivers in the household, but young drivers out of the household, that if they get a speeding ticket, a lot of the times it'll cost them on average $100 per month extra on their insurance for a period of 36 months. So it's about $3,600 per ticket. It'll cost you over the lifetime of having that ticket on your record.
And that's just one ticket?
One ticket.
So there's no grace? It's not like
No.
your second or third ticket?
Nope,
What if the
it's one
ticket is
ticket.
out of state? Do those count?
Yes.
Wow. So just can't cut me any slack, can you?
Well, gotta be a safe driver and keep those tickets off your record, and you'll be good.
Or if you're not a safe driver, have a good attorney.
Exactly. Yeah, you can do that too.
I know you want to mention Legal Shield.
Yes, we do offer Legal Shield, and if you want to know more about how we can keep that ticket off of your record, I'll be more than happy to give you that information directly.
Okay. Well, it looks like we have to go on another quick break, and you're listening to AM 560 KWTO, John Dittrich with It's Your Money, and we'll be right back. And we're back. It's Your Money Radio. This is John Dittrich. And if you'd like to call in, 417-862-9977 or 1-800-375-0056 are the numbers. We're standing by for your calls. And before we leave, we do have a few minutes to take some calls. Or Marilee, do you have some tips for the audience? Some things maybe we didn't cover that you can share about insurance that maybe we don't know?
One of the important tips I like to share with parents that have teen drivers in the household, drivers that are new. First thing would be is while they are permitted, try and get as many hours as you possibly can with them driving in the car. The more hours they have, statistically, they become a better defensive driver. Number one. Number two, always tell your children that it's not a matter of if you're in an accident, it's when. And what matters most, I try and tell my clients, is that your child walks away. So material things can always be replaced. I had a bad situation with a client several years ago, and I've just kind of made it my point to make sure every single client that I know that has a youthful driver, that material things can always be replaced, and that to make sure that your child knows that it's not the end of the world when they get into a fender bender. So it's really important for parents to consider that. The next thing, back to kind of coverage, is towing and car rental. A lot of people think that is included in what's called full coverage insurance, and it's not. It's something that has to be added on your policy. Towing and car rental, especially car rental, it's kind of our job as agents to kind of stay ahead of the industry and keep kind of what's going on in the industry. And car rental is really, really important because of the fact that when you have car rental on your policy, it doesn't really matter if you're in an accident, who's at fault. So if you're at fault, we can probably put you in the car the same day that you're in an accident, so you're not missing any time from picking up your kids, running errands, getting to work, that sort of thing. But it's when you're not at fault. A lot of the times when you're not at fault, you expect that other insurance company to pick up the bill, put you in a car, and it doesn't happen that quickly, unfortunately. So a lot of the times they're wanting to see the police reports that could take a couple days, or wanting to get recorded statements. And so if that is the case and you are in an accident and it's not your fault and you need a car, then your own insurance company should be able to put you in a car as long as you have that coverage on your own policy, and then they can worry about collecting that money back from the other insurance company, from the other person that was at fault. So super important, because that can really, stop someone's schedule in a heartbeat. Another area that I like to talk about is when you're renting a car from a car rental company. A lot of people don't understand that their coverages on their car insurance transfer over to that rental car. But, and that's comp and collision. So if you have full coverage on a car on your policy, then those coverages transfer over to the rental car. The only thing that is not covered is loss of use. So if you're involved in an accident and you're on vacation, you have a car rental, that rental car will need to go into the shop at some point. So if that vehicle is in the shop for a week, that rental car company has lost income for a week. So therefore, that is not something that is covered on your standard insurance policy. So that would be something that you could possibly take out an extra policy with the rental car company, but that is not something that's covered on your own policy.
Now, do you know about, like, a lot of credit cards offer auto rental insurance for car when you rent a car? Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't.
Okay, but that's something you might check with if you have a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of companies do offer that coverage, and you might want to ask about that. Call your 800 number on the back of your card.
Yeah, and I think also possibly some cell phone carriers offer that,
Mm-hmm.
and they have some sort of assistance that way too. But I'm not too familiar with all those different ways. But
So basically, don't pay for the extra insurance when you're renting a car.
other than when it's in the shop, loss of use, yes. If you have coverage on your policy, then that coverage transfers over to that rental vehicle, other than the loss of use.
So the rental company will come after you for loss of use.
That is correct.
Okay.
And I always recommend people also, when they're renting a vehicle, to make sure that when you're returning your rental vehicle, make sure that it's during business operating hours of the car rental facility that you're renting from. Make sure that you take the keys in physically. Do not leave them in a night drop. And then always have a representative come out and inspect the car and get your sign-off sheet and keep it.
Well, inspect it with the representative.
Yeah, inspect it with the representative, and then always keep that form as your proof that there was not any damage.
Okay. Good advice. Anything else?
Thanks.
Well, I appreciate that. And again, how does somebody get a hold of you?
Well, my office number is 417-887-6261, extension 12. Again, that number is 417-887-6261, extension 12. And my email address is marilee@goclarity.com. And that's MARILEE @goclarity.com.
Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And so I also like a special thanks to all of my sponsors again. Gayla Scribner at Scribner Solutions, your virtual assistants. Go to www.scribnersolutions.com and download her free book, 5 Things You Need to Know About Hiring a Virtual Assistant. Also, next week, Diana Haston will be on the show, and we're going to talk about why you might need life insurance. So life insurance is an important topic, and again, another one where I think there's quite a bit of maybe abuse in the industry, especially when it comes to replacing policies. So we're going to be talking about some important issues surrounding life insurance. So if you own it, want it, or don't think you need it, listen next week. So thank you, Diana Haston. Her number is 417-986-4529. Gary Bingaman at A&D Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, 24-hour service and fully insured. 417-866-8257. And Michael Miller with Family Back and Neck Care Center. Ask for Dr. Miller at 417-889-2225. This is John Dittrich. It's your money, and I'd like to thank you all for being out there.
Oh, or at the end, not both. But that's okay.
That's good.
Or their parent company or affiliates, and may
Grandma doesn't know how to get on Facebook.
on radio, internet, or other media. You should not
It can still be watched, though, can't it?
expressed by Dittrich as a specific inducement to make a particular
So this is how we do
or follow
radio.
a particular strategy,
Yeah,
but only
it's
as
not
an
hard.
expression of his opinion.
It's hard to do it well.
Opinions are based
I haven't figured that one out yet.
reliable,
Yeah.
But neither DB Advisors nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrant its completeness
Well,
or
yeah, we'll have
accuracy.
audio
It should
file.
not be relied upon as
You
such.
want this? You want the audio
District
file?
DB Advisors,
Sure.
its affiliate and/or subsidiaries
Send it to you.
are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided on this radio show. District's statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. No
Take a
part of
picture?
District's compensation.
If you take a picture of my son.
We got a whole video.
Specific opinions
You gonna snap a
But
picture of
he's
your
not
son?
on it.
No, wait, here he is, see?
give a future result.
Oh, he's on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Specific outcome or